What's going on YouTube? Florida Man Knives here, and I have a very exciting unboxing for myself because I'm going to be unboxing another Spyderco Salt model, and I actually got this one from the Knife Joker, which I have gotten several knives from, and I'm going to just briefly talk about that shop as I open this box up because I've had a few questions on it in case some of you are not familiar. I'm not sponsored or, in any way getting any form of income from this, but I just genuinely think it's a great place to order knives from, so figured I would inform you guys. Again, the Knife Joker, and the reason I like ordering knives from there is, number one, Travis, the owner, he gets the packages out literally just ridiculously fast. I mean, as soon as you order it, no matter the day, it gets shipped out. And then additionally, you also can get points with each purchase that you make, which is the primary reason I first started to continue to purchase knives there after I first got my Spyderco exclusive. And if let's say you get a $100 knife, you might get 20 points or so, and that'll be like $5 off your next knife basically. So it ends up working out if you're gonna be ordering knives on a consistent basis. And here we are. That is enough of that. I love the big Spyderco box that these things come in. I'm gonna go ahead and check out what else is in this box here off camera, just to avoid all of the styrofoam. Oh, pretty sick here. Got a couple of Knife Joker patches. That is awesome. Definitely appreciate that. And a couple of business cards. All right. So, here we go. Just real quick, that's what I was talking about, the points. And you get dollars off. Again, I have no affiliation or anything. Ooh, I should not have put those on there. That stuck. I have no affiliation, but just a good place to order from. And here we are. We have the Spyderco Fish Hunter serrated. I love these things. I always go to push the end, and then I realize that's right. It's not a typical Spyderco box. So if I can get this thing open, let me do this. Give me a second. There we are. And I'm gonna slide this beauty out, and there it is. So it is packaged just like the Aqua Salt that I have, which I will be discussing in this video if you're not familiar with that. Of course, it comes with the little Spyderco sticker, like all of them do. I remember the Pink Dragonfly 2 was the first Spyderco that I received. That came with a sticker. I was so blown away, and everyone I've gotten since has had it. So, of course, it comes with this really nice sheath. You can see it does have a belt carry attachment, and you can, of course, do a bunch of different options with this. Loop it around, put it on a leg strap, or, of course, carry it on the belt, zip tie to something, what have you. And now for the best part. I'm so excited about this. First off, I just will forever love how vibrant the yellow is in the FRN on the Salt series. And then I have wanted this knife for a very long time, and it has been out of stock for a very long time. And there it is. Yep. Ergonomics are just like the Aqua Salt. Again, I'm going to address that here in a minute. But there is that blade, and there is that H1 logo, Sal Glesser design, Seiki City, Japan. You are going to have an overall length of 9.24 inches, a blade length of 4.19 inches, a cutting edge of 4.10 inches, and you can see it actually lines up with the top portion of where the FRN goes to. Your blade thickness is very thin. It's actually 0.118 inches, thin for a knife this size. And on the weight, let's check that. They state it is supposedly 4.1 ounces. And yeah, okay. Let's make sure this is zeroed. It's zeroed. Is it not? All right, yeah. 3.46, maybe that was 4.1 with the sheath. No? Okay. Well, anyways, that is extremely light, just to make sure my scale is not acting up. Yeah, so, all right. That was a little bit more lightweight than I expected, I guess because of the material that is taken out of the blade. And speaking of that, you can see, of course, this is a hollow grind. on a spear point style blade. And so, you might be wondering what the purpose of this blade is. And, this knife was actually specifically designed to meet the needs of free divers and spear fishermen. That is why it does have that spear tip, the fully symmetrical hollow grind here that comes to an extremely sharp, pointy, stabby tip. And it is made for quickly dispatching fish, as they say. It's really made for braining a fish when you are spearfishing, to put it to sleep really quickly. And then of course you do have this serrated edge right here with Spyderco's spider edge serrations, which, yeah, that is a trademarked term. And that would be just, fantastic for cutting out any fishing line or rope that you may or may not be stuck in or entangled in, or just need to cut when you're on the boat. And, definitely looks like a double-edged dagger, of course, but you can see this is definitely a rounded off edge. It's actually not as sharp as I was anticipating it either. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could grind that down, but this is, number one, that would suck if you were to put your thumb up there. Number two, this is, going to be a knife that I'll actually be using for hopefully a very long time. And the last thing I would want when I'm underwater or on a boat, with a fish thrashing around, is for me to get my wrist or leg or something else close to it and just it fling back. Yeah, not a good idea. Just for a real quick comparison's sake, excuse me, there would be a true double-edged on a cold steel. That'll be a knife I'll be featuring hopefully soon on the channel. But anyways, I'll be continuing on with this. Of course, you do have the injection molded FRN handle. I mentioned that this is identical pretty much to the Spyderco Aqua Salt, which got right here. And you can see it pretty much is. There are a few differences that I'm gonna note real quick. But before I get to that, this one right here, the Fish Hunter, its first appearance was actually in Spyderco's product guide in 2015, if memory serves correct. And then they started hitting the shelves consistently in late 2016, early 2017. Again, they are definitely out of stock a lot of the time. I know that Blade HQ has some in stock as well. But so as I was stating, a couple of quick comparisons. These are both hollow grinds on this blade. You can see, of course, this is more of a typical hollow grind as opposed to the spear tip. And again, that is for being able to really easily stab into something. You don't want a big thick blade that's going to be protruding and getting in the way of that. Again, this is for when you're spearfishing, basically you stab the fish in the top of the head, hit the brain, put them to sleep right away. And of course the yellow color is going to be so that if you do drop this knife underwater, it would be very vibrant, very vibrant. That is the one thing about this Aqua Salt that's maybe a negative. They had actually first released this in the yellow FRN back in the day as well. But then this knife was, ended up being carried by those in our armed forces and others because it, doesn't rust. So they released the all black variant of that. And, the ergonomics are pretty much the same. Yeah, I think it's literally the identical handle mold. They're the same handle mold, I should say. Yeah. Very, very comfortable. I do have extra large size gloves, sized hands. You can see I do have some space there. And, what I intend to use this for is long-term, definitely spearfishing for sure, scuba diving if need be, free diving, things like that. In the short term, just general fishing. It's not as accessible at the moment to me to be getting in the deep water, but long term, as I stated, I will definitely be doing so. And the coolest thing about this, of course, is that it is 100% rust proof. And I mean absolutely, truly 100% rust proof. If you are not familiar, I'm sure you are, especially if you made it this far into the video, but for example, this is the Dragonfly 2 salt from Spyderco, and I can't tell you how many times this thing has been soaked in salt water and fish scales and fish guts and sand, and not cleaned off and left like that for weeks at a time, and all that it's got right now is some tape residue on it, but you can see there's no rust on it, even in the back portions here, which obviously is not applicable on a fixed blade, but I just wanted to note that I'll be discussing that in a video on this because they did end up coating them on the new models I know. And then real quick too, just for a size comparison, you can see overall definitely, you know, not a massive fixed blade, but a decent sized knife, larger than a paramilitary tube by a good bit. And the one quote-unquote negative, I suppose, on this knife would be that it does feature H1 steel, which is 100% rust proof, as opposed to LC200N, which is pretty much 95% rust proof, I suppose. You can see don't have any rust on this knife, and likewise to the Dragonfly 2 Salt. This thing has gone through several fish now, has been soaked in salt water. You know, I've swam with this in my pocket and fished with it, and etc. And haven't really cleaned it off too much. I have kept the pivot on this one and the lock a little bit more clean, but you know, again, I think that would be the only complaint, I suppose, for a lot of people would be that they didn't put LC200N in these yet. But at the same time, I still am a huge fan of H1. I have seen some of the bigger channels, especially the bigger knife channels, really knock H1 recently too. You know, I get that it doesn't have an insane edge retention, but it's pretty easy to sharpen. And I remember back in the day when, you know, something like H1 or, you know, comparable steel would have been excellent. I mean, everything's relative. And on a knife that you're going to be using like this, going through fish bones and things like that, honestly, I'm okay with it being a little bit more, you know, easy to sharpen, and the fact that I know that it won't stay sharp quite as long potentially, but I don't really plan on using the edge of this one too much. As you can see, I already do have several other alternative measures when it comes to rust-proof knives, but this one definitely will be used whenever I am freediving or snorkeling or anything like that. Spearfishing for sure is the long-term goal. If you are new to my channel, knives are not my only passion, and I definitely hope to be able to spear some fish, and if I don't stone them cold on the strike, then I'll go in and quickly dispatch them, as Spyderco says, with this glorious knife. So as always, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Let me know if you've made it this far into the video, almost 13 minutes in. Not a lot of people will be watching this particular video, I would imagine, although this realistically could potentially be the best dive knife there is. I'll definitely be doing a video on that, especially as I get more experience with both of these and potentially a couple of other models. But you know, as far as just a free diving knife, I would say this would be better for a regular dive knife. Potentially this, you know, you would have more time, and I don't know. Like I said, for free diving though, and spearfishing especially, I mean, this is ideal to, again, just quickly put a fish to sleep. So also wanted to note, I did not do this earlier. I meant to. I suppose it's because this is a serrated edge. You can see there is no sharpening choil there. And one thing I actually really love about the Aqua Salt, especially because it's a Spyderco, and they don't really do this, is there is a sharpening choil. So another thing to note, the Seiki City, Japan mark is in a different spot, as you can see. And that's just due to the way they grind the knife here. On this one, they bring the blade a little bit further back on the Aqua Salt for sure, so you do have a little bit more of a cutting edge, you can see. And that would be why they don't have any room to stamp the Seiki City. But this is not a direct comparison between these two knives. Just figured I'd point out a couple of differences. You can actually grip up a little bit more here if need be, but I don't really see that being the case. Anyways, again, as always, I really appreciate you watching. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments about this thing. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.